I just sent you an email with all the info. 300 words. Yeah, of our.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'm going to call our meeting for tonight, our regular City Council meeting for July 21, 2026 to order. Let's stand and proudly recite our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, can you kindly call roll call, please?
Councilmember Brando Cruz.
Here.
Councilmember Melissa Lamatina.
Here.
Councilmember David Oro.
Here.
Vice Mayor Mark Joseph.
Here.
And Mayor Pierre Washington.
Here. Report on closed session and confirmation of reportable actions. When you're ready, Mr. Summers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Mayor and Council met in closed session to consider two items, both of existing litigation, American Canyon 1 LLC and Napa Valley Ruins and Gardens LLC versus City of American Canyon, and American Canyon 1 LLC versus City of American Canyon and Napa County and Hess Laird LLCs. There, the council provided direction to staff and council on both cases and took no reportable action. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Summers. Any questions for the attorney? Seeing none, we'll move on to our proclamations and presentation. Tonight, we have on the agenda one proclamation, but however, we have two this evening. I'll be reading both, that we have no presentations prior to our agenda. So I'll read the first proclamation, which is July 2026 as Park and Recreation Month. So we have any recipients to take the podium while I read the proclamation? After I read the proclamation, I'll give you an opportunity to say a few words, and then we'll take a photograph with you lovely people. Reading, July 2026 as Parks and Recreation Month. Whereas park and recreation programs are integral part of the communities throughout our country and are vitally important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life for our communities, ensuring the health of all citizens, and contributing to economic and environmental well-being of all communities and regions. And whereas the City of American Canyon's Park and Recreation Department enriches the lives of our community members through active participation in lifelong learning, health and wellness, community involvement, providing essential services, protecting the natural resources and habitats, and recreational activities. And whereas Parks and Recreation provide essential and life-saving skills through Learn to Swim programs, specialized life-saving certifications, and expert hands-on training for parks and recreation staff. And whereas Park and Recreation fosters social cohesiveness in communities by celebrating diversity, providing space to come together peacefully, modeling compassion, promoting social equity, connecting social networks, and ensuring all people have access to its benefits. And whereas Parks and Recreation strengthens the community identity by providing facilities and services that reflect the celebration and the community's character, heritage, culture, history, and landscape. And whereas Parks and Recreation sustains the steward of our natural resources by protecting habitats and open space, protecting people to nature, or connecting people to nature, and promoting the ecological functions of parkland. And whereas, in collaboration with the California Parks Recreation Society, a statewide public awareness campaign, and National Recreation and Parks Association, a nationwide public awareness campaign, aim to inform citizens and recognize the importance of access to local parks, trails, open spaces, facilities, services, and programs for health, wellness, development, inspiration, and safety for all. And now, therefore, I, Pierre Washington, Mayor of the City of American Canyon, on behalf of the City Council, do proclaim July 2026 as Park and Recreation Month, urging all residents to use and enjoy American Canyon's parks, trails, open spaces, facilities, and many recreation opportunities through our programs and services. Dated today, July 21, 2026.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Alana Ben. I am your Recreation Manager. And with me accepting the proclamation is a small portion of our Parks and Rec Department. They are an incredible team, and they make programs, fun, happen for the community. And we just wouldn't be successful without them. So I really want to say thank you guys to the department and what you guys do. It matters. And just continue doing that. So, yeah.
Thank you.
I do have a short video to play.
Okay. We're ready.
Every morning before the parks come alive, our Parks and Recreation team is already at work, preparing the places where our community will gather, play, learn, and connect. Behind every beautiful park, every well-maintained trail, and every game-ready field is a team dedicated to making these spaces welcoming for everyone. Our work goes beyond maintaining parks. We create opportunities for children to discover new passions, for families to make lasting memories, for older adults to stay active, for neighbors to connect, and for people of all ages and abilities to find a place where they belong. From community celebrations to camps, sport leagues, special events, and lifelong recreation programming, every experience is designed with one purpose: to enrich lives and strengthen our community. Parks are more than just places. They're where milestones are celebrated. They're where friendships begin, healthy habits grow, and the community comes together to have fun. That's the power of Parks and Recreation. This Parks and Rec Month, we celebrate the dedicated people who make it all possible. Together, we are enhancing the quality of life for our residents by helping make American Canyon the best place to live, work, and play. Happy Parks and Recreation Month.
And before we take our picture up there, I just want to say to the whole team, you guys do an amazing job. I mean, weekends and things of that nature, I mean, everywhere, you guys are everywhere. I've seen you guys at all the locations. Dave, the softball thing, I mean, you got that thing going like crazy, man. I appreciate what you're doing out there. But all of you, you guys make this place an amazing place to live, so thank you. And we're going to take a picture with you guys.
Thank you.
We actually have one more proclamation, and I'm hoping staff will stay.
Oh, if the staff could stay for one more, we can have one more presentation. We have one more presentation. and it actually is affiliated to what you guys are all about as well. But I'm going to ask Alana to come up to the podium one more time. Yeah. Yeah, trying to run out of here real quick. This second proclamation, which wasn't on the agenda, but is a special proclamation. It's to honor Alana Ben for her 15 years of dedicated service to the city of American Canyon. And if we need to bring some tissue up there, let me know.
grabbed some.
Okay. All right, so honoring Alana Bain for her 15 years of dedicated service, whereas the City of American Canyon proudly recognizes Alana for her outstanding service, unwavering dedication, and lasting contribution to our community. And whereas Alana is a lifelong American Canyon resident whose deep roots in our community have inspired a career devoted to enriching the lives of others through public service. Whereas Alana has served on American Canyon in the Parks and Recreation Department, bringing creativity, compassion, excellence to every program and event she has led. And whereas Alana's vision and leadership have helped create cherished community traditions and meaningful experiences, including Magic of the Season, the 4th of July celebration, engaging programs at the Adult Activity Center, and most recently helping bring The Wall That Heals to American Canyon. Providing our community with an opportunity to honor veterans, reflect on history, and come together in remembrance. And whereas throughout her career, Alana has fostered connections among residents of all ages, creating welcoming spaces where families, seniors, youth, and visitors have built memories, celebrated milestones, and strengthened the sense of community and make American Canyon such a special place. And whereas her passion, kindness, commitment, have left an enduring impact on countless residents, co-workers, volunteers, community partners, making American Canyon a better place to live, work, and play. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the City of American Canyon extends a heartfelt gratitude and appreciation to Alana Ben for her 15 years of dedicated service to the Parks and Recs Department and the entire American Canyon community. The city thanks you, Alana, for the joy, leadership, legacy, and what you have left behind. We hope that you, or wish that you continue your happiness, success, and fulfillment of years ahead, and express our sincere appreciation, the differences she has made to the lives of so many in American Canyon. And it sounds like you're leaving when I read this, so you might have something that you want to tell everybody.
Yes, so I got an opportunity to work for the city of Redwood City. So I will be leaving. My last day is next week. So I am excited, a little nervous, but really sad to leave my work family, and I've been here forever, and yeah. So.
Well, we know that your parents still live here, so we know you're
do,
coming home.
yes.
So we know where to find you if we
Yes.
need you. But we appreciate you for everything that you've done.
Yeah.
I've been watching you grow in the last 15 years, and I've been amazed. And I'm sure that Redwood City just don't know what they're about to get. So thank you. Thank you for all your
you.
hard work that you've done here in the city.
Thank
We're
you.
going to take
I
another
appreciate
picture
that.
with you up here.
Yeah, come on up.
Thank you once again, Alana. At this time, I would like to open up for the floor for public comment on items that are not listed on tonight's agenda. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes to address the council. You can start by addressing who you are for the record. And Madam Clerk, do we have any comment cards?
Yes, we do. I'm going to call, where are we right now? Arvin Nigel.
Good evening, Arvin.
Good evening,
Good evening.
everybody. It's a pleasure to be here today. And I'm going to announce a couple of things. I'm doing a couple of events in town from long time. And Elana has helped me all the time. From last 15 years, she helped me in the gym, whenever I did the event, like a multicultural event or a holy event or anything happened in the gym, she was always there. Whenever I call her, Elana is there. Thank you, Elana. So I did the Holy Festival in town. I did the multicultural event in town. So everybody enjoyed that one. So I'm starting a new event now in the town. So I hope everybody will like it. It's for the seniors, not for a, and they should enjoy one night with us. And I approached them. They're very excited to come and to enjoy one night with us. And the event is a prom night for seniors. And everybody's happy to see this one. Nobody has done before in our town or in our community or in our Napa County. So I decided to see this one, how to make them happy, all the seniors. So this event will happen in a Boys and Girls Club on 29th of August from 4 to 7, because mostly seniors go to have a late dinner or they go to sleep early. So I want to finish it early. I don't want to make it late at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, so they should be gone by 8 o'clock or 7:30, 8 o'clock. So it's free, and it'll be a lot of events in the program, like songs, old songs, not new songs, 50s, 60s, and 70s songs, so they understand what we're talking about. And it's free, and food is there. There's no charge for that. So it'll be fun, one night with the seniors. So I encourage everybody who wants to come. They are welcome to come over there and enjoy also. Enjoy with us and have a good time one night with us. So all seniors are welcome. Thank you very much. And it's in the Boys and Girls Club on 29th of August from 4 to 7. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arvin.
I have the flyers with me. If you want to take a picture, I'll leave it here. And it's on the Facebook. It'll be on the Instagram. Everybody will be there. And we can put it on the CD comments also.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arvin.
Jeanette Goetz.
Good evening, Jeanette.
Good evening. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I have a problem. Anyway, good evening, Mayor Washington, city council members. The Planning Commission people, right? Yeah. My name is Jeanette Goyetch. I'm just going to respond to something that was, I think it was the last meeting we were at. You, Marquez, had mentioned that we don't really have a town center. And years ago, I think that was one of the things that we're going to do at the over there at the ruins. Anyway, I just guess we've been waiting, some of us that have been here a long time, and I don't know if it's in the works at all, or we've forgotten about it. It just seems like it would be nice to have a center. I don't know. People drive through American Canyon, they get their food, they get their gas, and then they move on. I think it would be nice for us people, and I guess I'm speaking to Planning Commission too, since you're here. I've been to a few little towns lately. Well, after you mentioned that, it kind of sat with me. I was, yeah, I forgot about the town center. And then, I've been to some, Vacaville has a nice little one, and, even Vallejo has a nice one, if, needs work, but, but people do meet there. That's what I think we're missing here, is somewhere to congregate. And I met a young woman from, I won't say what country, but foreign country, not last couple of weeks ago. And she asked me, oh, where's your town center? And I thought for a second, we don't have one. I think it would be nice. I think we could do it. That's, I guess, all I have to say. Oh, one other question I wanted to ask was about, I thought I read in the paper about the Napa Junction area for a railroad depot. Am I imagining that? No, okay. So that was in the paper and I read it correctly? I think that'd be really cool. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Orlando Harris.
Good evening, Orlando.
Good evening, Mayor Washington, council members. I was here last month, and some of you were here. You remember that I brought forth our disappointment in this year's Juneteenth celebration and thought that we could do a much better job. And I'm just here to say that I'm happy, delighted that, voices were heard and people listened. And so, I'm not one to complain without also giving credit when something is being done. And so I just wanted to come here this evening and acknowledge Mayor Washington, Mark Joseph, Mark Elliott, as well as Karen Robry. And we had a fantastic meeting, and I thought that we made a lot of progress as to what the plan could be and how we could improve Juneteenth for 2027. And so again, I just wanted to congratulate the mayor, Mark, and Karen for listening, for being willing to listen and to hear and not just to run away when something doesn't go right. And with that being said, I thank you for everything that you've done. I thank you for what is to come, and I'm truly looking forward to it. And I guess I have a couple of minutes. Mm-hmm. So that being said, there's only one thing I wanted to bring up. I thought about this. And I've reached out before. I've actually gone over to the police station to talk over there and asking that we really consider, I don't know if it needs to be more in the budget, but we need more presence on 29 and American Canyon Road. It is extremely dangerous. I can't tell you how many times I sat at that light and watched people run through that light at very, very, very high speed. I'm talking extremely high speed. And eventually, we're going to have something there that's going to be catastrophic. And so I'm hoping that we can consider, occasionally putting a motorcycle policeman there just to let people know that they're being watched. It's a danger to the city. It's a danger to our residents. It's a danger to people coming in and out. And so I would just ask for the council to take more consideration to having at least every now and then, maybe once a month, a motorcycle policeman just sitting there just to let people know that we're aware of what's happening. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Orlando.
Sahej Takar.
Good evening, Sahej.
Good evening, Mayor Washington, Vice Mayor Joseph, and members of the council. My name is Sahej Takar, and I'm a 14-year-old living in Fairfields. I'm a member of the Fairfield Youth Commission and the founder of the National Association of Youth Commissions. This nonprofit organization works to establish youth commissions in cities where they're not already present, push for legislation beneficial to youth, and increase youth access to government. I'm speaking to you this evening on a proposal that I've seen work firsthand, and it's one of the best things that a city can do for its young people. I'm asking you to create a youth commission in American Canyon. For some context, a youth commission is a group of young people, typically aged 14 to 25, who work to advise the city council and mayor on topics relating to the youth. This can range from small youth issues to issues that affect youth across the city. Youth commissions are created with the purpose of bridging the gap between the youth of a city and the city's government. Simply put, the people who know youth issues best are the youth themselves. They're living it. As of right now, American Canyon does allow for youth to have a seat on some existing committees and commissions. But what American Canyon needs is a standalone body that can tackle youth issues independently of other committees. A youth commission would be different from just any other program in that this isn't the city giving to the youth, it's also the youth giving to the city. All the city needs to do is give them a chance. Cities with youth commissions often see real change and new laws. For example, the Fairfield Youth Commission is actively working to implement a tobacco retail license, which ties into the issue of smoking in our schools. And these types of opportunities are what American Canyon's youth need. And this wouldn't even be difficult to implement. All that is needed is a resolution that would establish the commission, and there would be minimal cost to the city. There would be no need to hire any new individuals, since the only adults working with the commission would be an adult advisor, and there would be very little administrative costs, since the only real cost would be holding a monthly or bi-monthly meeting. Furthermore, through the National Association of Youth Commissions, I would be happy to offer the city with free research on how things like exact costs, appointments, and scope of work would play out. I'm requesting the City Council to direct staff to report back on potential routes the city could take in starting a commission. I would be happy to serve as a resource for the city during this process. If any member of the council is interested, please contact me at 707-344-9999 or at our website, youthcommissions.org. I would be happy to help out in this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Shahid. And I got your number.
Thank
you. Hugh Marquez.
Good evening, Hughes.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I just wanted to give start out with a shout out to Valerie and the Evening in the Streets. It's great to see how much that has blossomed over the last couple of years. And it was good to see our protective services being represented, the ambulance, police, fire, CHP. It's good to see our youth businesses being represented, she's representing our youth businesses. And it was just nice to see it blossoming. It's great to see some of our community organizations also being represented. They have their tent, they get to tell people what they represent. And during the last Evening in the Streets, there was a measure that you voted on to allow go to the voters, Measure P, and some flyers were distributed. And I wanted to let you know that at this point I fully support it. I think it's good we're a growing city, and I think we need to think big. And there's a lot of stuff going on online, but I just wanted you to know that the council, whether you're for it or against it, I would encourage you to have some ideas of what, if it passes, what you want to do for the city. I was part of the the road commission, the West County, the West Side, and I've sent emails to all the council members of my ideas on that. And we also have the Newell Road, and that's a big deal that we have to figure out in our city. And so I'm hoping that if this goes through, that you guys will have some ideas to give to the city residents of what the proposal is. I know the police are going to the costs are going up at some point. We're going to have to redo a contract, and so we need to think about all those things. And so I just want to let you know that I was for it, and I'm hoping that the city, the ones that are for it, or even against it, that you will let the citizens know what's going to happen if we do get it. Thank you.
Thank you, Hugh.
That's my last speaker card, but I do have one hand raised online.
Okay.
Okay. Justin Hamilton Holt. Go ahead, Justin.
Thank you, Teresa. I want to make a promotion here. I think Anna is doing a great job for the American. We miss her she's been there for 15 years. So it's nice to see her working hard, and now she's moving on. So I'm going to miss her. The second thing is, I noticed there's somebody in there in that room, Marianne. I think you were doing a great job to be a board member at the on Tuesday, me. But I will think about Marianne because Dawson Way is amazing. They're working on painting parking lot, and I always walking with my dog the school every time. Think about Marianne. And the third one is, I'm so happy that I just talked to somebody working on the hill with Karen Dunmore, doing kill some reed or grass or something. He said the house is gonna be coming soon. I hope we're gonna get one new house, some new sidewalks. So thank you, and Marianne, welcome on the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
I have no other speakers.
Thank you, Madam. Oh, Cindy? Good evening, Cindy.
I know you want me to look here, and I'm going to look here, but I'm going to look over here for a minute, too. Alana, girl, I'm going to miss you. I tell you what, from my heart, I will miss you, but I'm so proud of you, and I'm so happy for you. So, I mean, well, her and I go back from the beginning. And, yeah, I mean, you're going to leave a hole here, a huge hole. You're going to be their asset for sure. But I wish you nothing but the best, and you got my number, so take care of yourself. What I came up here also to do is about 2014, there was like a 12-year-old younger version of myself that I used to come here. I know there's going to be at least 2 of you guys on the council that's going to remember. I come here once or twice a month and say, hey, we need a sidewalk on Eucalyptus Street. I was taking 3 grandkids to school every day. One was in a stroller, and there was no sidewalk. There was nothing but a drainage ditch and nothing but traffic. I ended up having to, years later, transfer them to another school so we could walk to school. Walking to our schools is a really good way to include our community, be part of our community. So now I'm going to be back, but now it's going to be asking for a overpass, pedestrian overpass. I know I came to the NVTA meeting, and they said, oh, it's too expensive. I don't think we should have a price tag on our kids' head. I'm part of your traffic problem because I drive 2 of my grandchildren still to the high school and the middle school now. Next year, it'll be 1 trip because they all will be in high school next year. But but they have friends there. We have no connection between the east and the west side. They have friends there. I can't have them walk. They meet up at the park or something, but it is dangerous. The gentleman that was just here, this highway is crazy. I did talk to Grant here. He says it's too expensive, but we're going to have landing pads when it's built out, Highway 29 is built out. I'm like, oh, great, you're going to make the kids smaller targets. You cannot stop that car. So I'm going to be here. I'm going to be that pain in the butt again, because in 2022, we got a sidewalk. And thank you, Erica and Public Works, because it is the best looking sidewalk in the city, I'm telling you. It's got a lot of character. But I know we're going with the Highway 29 corridor. I'm glad that the Planning Commission's here. If we don't start doing something now, they're going to do that highway. There's not going to be any markers, nothing to be able to take care of that. Yes, I understand it's probably going to be on the city's time. But if we don't start planning it now, we're not going to get it. And we're not going to forget about it. So our kids are priceless. We all know that. So let's make sure that we get them over there safely. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Anyone else in the room for public comment? Seeing none, I'll close public comment and move to agenda changes with the council. Are there any agenda changes? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion to accept the consent calendar.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion
I'll second.
and a second. Can we get a roll call, please, Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Cruz,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamatina,
Yes.
Councilmember Oro,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joseph,
Yes.
Mayor Washington.
Yes, and thank you. Okay, next was public hearing. We have one item for public hearing, item number 11, a proposed ordinance adding chapter 13.08 to Title 13 of the American Canyon Municipal Code. And I will...
Mayor, staff requests we continue this to August 18th.
That makes it easy. Do we need to do a motion and a vote?
Please.
Yes.
Okay, can I get a motion to continue item number 11?
I'll make a motion to continue item number 11 to the council meeting of August 18th.
I second.
And we have a second? Can we get a roll call, please?
Yep. Continue to, was it August 18th?
Yes.
Yes, August 15th.
18th.
18th?
Okay.
18th.
18th.
Thank you. And Councilmember Cruz?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamatina?
Yes.
Councilmember Oro?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joseph?
Yes.
Mayor Washington?
Yes. Management and staff or reports, any, Mr. Holiday? Nothing? You're making this easy tonight. Moving on to our mayor and council comments and committee reports. We'll start with you, Vice Mayor.
I did submit a report, and there's been a whole bunch of meetings, but I wanted to highlight the rail station grant, since Jeanette's still here. Napa Valley Transportation Authority was successful in securing a $250,000 grant, and the purpose is to analyze where the ideal spot for a rail station in the South County would be. Now, recognizing that the rail goes through much of American Canyon, there's a good chance that that location might be in American Canyon. So the good news is there is funds to identify, look at different sites and do some planning, and the likelihood is that it'll be in American Canyon. The downside is it'll probably be years from now before we see anything, but at least that ball is rolling. And I've been around for 30 years, and there's been 2 rail feasibility studies and now a rail station feasibility study. So if you feasibility it enough, it will happen. That's my comment. Thank you.
Councilmember Oro?
I have nothing to report, sir.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Lamatina?
I just want to thank the city and everyone involved for a great 4th of July. It was really fabulous, and everyone had a great time. I met a lot of people that are not from our city, so that was fun. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Councilmember Cruz?
Nothing to report, sir.
Okay, I as well have nothing else to add to my report, which I filed. Future agenda items, Vice Mayor.
Nothing at this time.
Councilmember Oro?
No, sir.
Councilmember Lambertina?
No.
Councilmember Cruz? No, sir. Well, then we've concluded our regular city council business for this evening, and we'll now move on to our special joint commission meeting with the Planning Commission, and I will allow us about 5 minutes to kind of get set up, and then we'll start that up. So I will adjourn from the regular general meeting, and we'll set up for our special meeting with the Planning Commission. Oh, they're one short. He's probably traveling. I think he said he was going to be in New York. Yeah. I am, just for about an hour. I'm not gonna stay long. I just want to be there to show them.
Show face
Yeah, then I'm gonna leave. I got another engagement for Sherlyn and I to go to. Then we're gonna be, you're gonna go to Frank's Day too, right?
Oh, yeah. I have a
But
funeral.
I know you say you had another one to go to.
For
yeah.
my family, a family member, so then I'll be a little later to
So if you come to a puffy eyes, you know why, right?
We didn't really like.
Oh.
It's my mom's sister's husband's sister.
So if you come with a party hat, right?
Yeah,
I'm just-
she was something else, and then she got dementia, and she was fucking mean, so it's She's lasted a long time. But yeah.
How old?
Let's see. My mom is like 75, 76, so she was around there, maybe 77. Yeah, but she had dementia for a long time. They had to put her in a home. But yeah, I've been seeing her.
No, I-
Yeah, and I could see that. This is like,
It is.
Thank you. Yes, it is looking good. We can be a
Huh? You looking good too, man.
If we could take our places.
I don't know if I got the support. Yeah.
mint.
No, I don't. Oh man, Nicole's not here. Oh, I brought my bag. I got Altoids.
Yeah.
Those are my jam.
Yes. I have to do the sugar-free. Yes, you do. Diabetes. Huh. Taking a poll? Don't know how you do that. Okay. I just thought you would just.
All right, that 5 minutes is up. I'd like to call our meeting back into order. This is our special joint City Council and Planning Commission meeting.
Jason.
Our special joint City Council Planning Commission meeting for July 21st, 2026. And I will ask Chair Charlie Plummer to lead us today in this evening's Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Clerk, can you do the roll call, starting with the Planning Commission and then the council?
Yes. Commissioner Devet Mohammed.
Present.
Commissioner Eric Altman is absent. Commissioner Marilyn Avalon. Vice Chair Shelby Goss. Chair Charles Plummer.
Present.
Council Member Brando Cruz.
Here.
Council Member Melissa Lamatina.
Here.
Council Member David Oro.
Here.
Vice Mayor Mark Joseph.
Here.
Mayor Pierre Washington.
I'm here. And at this time, I'd like to open the floor for public comment for items that are not on tonight's agenda. If there's any comments, or any speaker cards?
Yes, I have, where did it go? I have Jeanette Goyes.
Good evening, Jeanette.
Good evening again, everyone. I think the question, I just have a question, actually. On the business item number 1, it says removing barriers to development. So I guess my question, a couple of questions is what barriers need to be removed? And is there going to be a discussion about this with people like me and everybody else? So I'd just like to clear it up, see what it's about. Thank you.
Just for the record, Jeanette, that is what the purpose of this meeting is, so we will be discussing that tonight, and you'll have an opportunity again.
Right, but I guess my worry, I mean, I don't know how many more people would have come tonight, but, more notice to see what, will we be able to, are there going to be decisions made tonight?
It's just information tonight.
Oh, it's information. Okay, well, that's
Yes.
better.
Other speakers?
I have, let me see here. I do have Justin Hamilton Hole with hand raised, so one moment. Go ahead, Justin.
Good evening, City Councilor and other team. My two things is, one is I very miss, I hope we can bring it back, is a farmer market. I look at now, I am helping farm market on Tuesdays at Napa. I missed that one. I remember a year ago was back before COVID. We have farmer market. And the second thing is, I think Brett Cooper. I think somebody can give Brett Cooper email so he can email me so I can get onto this list. Update stuff. So thank you.
Thank you, Justin, and I'll make sure Brett has your email. Anyone else online?
That is the last person I have with hand raised.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll close public comment and move on to, no agenda changes. We'll just move to the next business item, which is item number 1, removing barriers and development. Mr. Cooper.
Thank you, Mayor. Just before Brent starts, wanted to set the stage. This is a council requested item. It's part of a continuing program that we have where we meet on an annual basis with each of our commissions to discuss different kinds of issues and to provide that sort of connectivity between the bodies. So we met with PCS and OSATs at the end of June. This is our first meeting of the year that we're going to connect with the Planning Commission. And Brent Cooper has a presentation, and we'll kind of go from there. So thank you, Brent.
Thank you, Mr. Hawley. Mr. Cooper.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mayor, and members of the council, and our Planning Commission, Brent Cooper, Community Development Director, and hello to the community and the folks that are watching today. Very pleased to have a conversation tonight. This is a brainstorming session to kind of try on some different concepts, and I'll get right into it. So in 2019, the city adopted a specific plan. This was initiated by the city to bring some placemaking and some direction for the land uses on Highway 29. And so we had a lot of outreach, meetings on what might go where. I know Councilmember Oro was part of the focus group for that before he was a council member, and really looking at what can be possible here on Highway 29. And we talked a lot about Highway 29 itself. The city, of course, has no control over Highway 29 directly because that's a Caltrans facility. And we all know about the effort underway today for Highway 29 under the leadership of the Napa Valley Transportation Authority, also in partnership with the city. And so you can see on the lower right hand there is a vision here to provide pedestrian, bicycle facilities, landscaping, underground utilities, and those are all things that are part of the Highway 29 plan, which will tremendously change the character of the highway as we see it today. But apart from that, we talked about architectural standards for both residential and commercial, and looking at where we have clusters of development and kind of bringing some order and some thought to that. And so that was really the larger, bigger picture. The plan was adopted, and we've been implementing it now for 6 years. So one of the issues that was central to the Broadway plan is looking at where do we have opportunities for change. Obviously, you look right across the street here, the Napa Junction Center is there. It's not changing, it's new. I think we're all happy with it. And we have other properties along the highway as well that fit that category. But in the blue here, those were areas where there is more opportunity to really look at what's happening. And in that time, we've had a number of projects that have been approved. And so we have some here. In 2020, there was the Home to Suites Hotel, Circle K. In 2021, we had the Hampton Inn Hotel and Napa Cove. In that time, the Home to Suites is built, Circle K is built. We have construction permits for Hampton Inn, and of course, the Napa Cove is built. In 2023, we had the Chicken Guy project and the Sun Square mixed use project over there on Napa Junction Road. The Crawford Apartments more recently approved at Crawford Way and Highway 29. And then back in 2021, we had 2 gas station applications in the Broadway district, Rotten Robbie and 7-Eleven. And so we all know the Chicken Guy is built. The Sun Square project is in redesign. It was approved, but the applicants have changed, have a different idea. It's fundamentally the same project, but it's being considered for redesign under the applicant's recommendation. The Crawford Townhomes, we have building permit applications for that. And then, as we might recall, both of the gas stations, I'll politely say, were rezoned. Some of the feedback over that time that we had, we had a conversation, almost about a year ago, about architecture and what's happened with the way in which we have projects that come to us. And the general feeling is it didn't quite meet expectations. I do have to say that the Crawford Townhomes and the Sun Square have really stepped up, and it's looking forward to seeing them built, because they really did take to heart what the plan was saying and tried to do that. But I think for the most part, a lot of the projects were, I don't know, maybe underwhelming, I guess you could say. I do want to point out the Hampton Inn project. This one is, as it was approved on the right there, that one started out with, I think, what architects would describe as a brutalist modern design. And that was what the applicant thought they wanted to build. And they weren't particularly receptive to staff's recommendations that this doesn't meet our plan and our design guidelines. And so the project did need a zone change, so we had a workshop, and the council really picked it up and encouraged the applicant to redesign the project. And the idea here is to look at the Canyon Corners next door, which is more of a farmhouse type style, and do something that kind of marries with that in a manner. And I think they did a very good job, and looking forward to seeing the design of the project through the construction permits being finished. So I think a real key issue here that really helped move things forward was that the council was involved in the Hampton Inn design. So we sort of save that thought for later. I think architecture aside, looking at what projects were approved, if those are all built, they do have a significant economic benefit to the city. And a couple of years ago, we had an economic development workshop with the council, and where the idea isn't so much where we have sort of programs of this kind and that, but if we were able to streamline development and bring construction and new development to our Broadway district and other areas of the city, it generates revenue. And so in this case, if all of those approvals since 2019 happen, well, that equates to about $150 million of private investment. So those are sales to our local businesses, it's investment. Once it's built and up and running, they create tax revenue. Talking to our assistant city manager, he popped in just at the right time and helped me with that. It's about $1.4 million a year. And so, of course, we recently talked about the budget and what's happening in the future. And one way that we can help ourselves is to help grow the pie, as we like to talk about. So facilitating development does that. And then, of course, you have spin-off economic activity in the region to the tune of $250 to $400 million a year. So this is really important that we are able to help facilitate development, but let's maybe see how we can do it in a manner that I think we'll all be proud of once it's there. Because once things are built, they're there for, I don't know, 100 years, a long time. One other issue is that a lot of the properties that are left to be built, those sites are just intrinsically more complex and more difficult than maybe some of our past. And so you could say that the easy sites are largely developed, and I guess that's why they're developed. Now, development isn't easy. I'm not saying that these were done with are easy, because there may be people listening that are going to object to that. But the fact, the virtue of they were able to build those sites perhaps is comparatively easy to others that we have today. And some of those things that might make that true is the retail market's changed. You know, of course, we all know about online shopping, and that certainly hasn't stopped. It's growing unabated. And so you can't build retail in the same way you once were and hope to fill it. It's more competitive. It's more of an experience. It's just, you've got to do more. Inflation and interest rates. Of course, anyone who pays attention to the news, and everyone in this room certainly does, they are really creating heartache for developers. We have projects where the applicant is really looking at the costs. It just makes them uncertain. And so it's difficult. And then just going through an entitlement process itself. There are a lot of high expectations the city has in the way that we review our projects and the standards. Even apart from that, some people are just nervous about going through it. I can remember applicants who were really, really worried about going to the Planning Commission and getting a use permit. I'm like, don't worry about that. That's the last thing you've got to worry about. The parking lot, you've got to build a parking lot. That's hard. Planning Commission, they're going to love it. And it all worked out, and they did. But yes, that parking lot was hard. But it wasn't the entitlement, but people perceive it to be. And so with that, I wanted to bring you to, here's a strategy where maybe we can move forward and kind of bring some of these ideas together. And that would be being a proactive, creativity, partnership, and certainty are some of the theme words here. And this would be the city functioning as a proactive partner and facilitator in entitlement approval. So we have in our hands already. And these are, we have our specific plan, we have streamlined environmental, we have processes and procedures in place. If we were to identify what's important on the highway, what does the council, as advised by all of us here and others, what do we think we want to see? Because the city has a lot of resources to help facilitate the entitlement part to happen. And I've been in lots of meetings where applicants are saying, well, what does the city want? Well, we have a zoning, and look at this big list of things. Like, I know that, but what does the city want? And so this is something that really hasn't been seriously pursued. And so I thought, well, maybe we should. Because if you think about it, we sort of set the table, and then we sit back and wait for customers to come. And I'm not saying that isn't going to keep happening, but you get what you get. It's like potluck. What does people bring to your house? And you might not like it. And so if we start with, well, what do we want? Then maybe someone will agree. Oh, well, if that's what you want, you never asked me before, right? If that's what you want, well, okay, yeah, that sounds like I can, yeah. So it just hasn't been done. And so I have some examples. And these aren't, these are examples, these are ideas. Now they're not, I don't think they're crazy ideas, but they're ideas. And I've vetted a few with the property owners, so I know they're not crazy. So I'll start with this one. I'm starting with Rick Hess because he's someone who gets it. So one of the things that we have that you can observe along the highway here is the development turns its back to the highway. And no wonder why. I mean, look at it. We all want it to be improved. The speed limits are high. It's dangerous. It's noisy. It's not a pleasant place to be near. So I get it. Makes a lot of sense. And so, but we do have, we'll take, for example, the retail building, the corner there of Crawford Way and Highway 29 in Canyon Plaza. And the building there is aligned up against the highway. And here's how it looks, right? The building is near there. It meets the design standards. For example, it's an older one, but it's a pleasant-looking building. But it doesn't give you a here, right? And we understand why, because of the highway. Now, when the highway is redesigned, it'll go down to 35 miles an hour. The utilities will be underground. There'll be landscaping. There'll be a bike lane. It's going to be a different place than it is today. So if that happens, what would it happen if you were to turn the buildings around, in a sense, and have the fronts on the highway? I was talking to a restaurant owner over in his plaza who isn't in this building. He's in another building. He says, no one knows I'm here. Well, what if you had your suite on the highway and you had outdoor seating and everyone could see how lovely and fun your restaurant is? Not only that, but that area for the sidewalk, for the area where you'd have the tables and the outdoor seating, that's set back. Today, it's nothing. There is no economic value to the property owner. This has economic value to the property owner. So not only does it give the restaurants greater visibility, it gives the landlord leasable space. And it gives the public a pleasant environment to be. And folks that are driving through town say, wow, this is starting to look a little bit like St. Helena, right? I mean, even AI, this is AI, I admit this is an AI, right? And AI was confused. If you look closely at the sign, it has directions to St. Helena and Calistoga. So that's not a hard thing to do technically. The building is there. You just modify the storefront. You use your land, which is a setback the city makes you set aside that you can't use, right? And then you use it. Here's another example. there is no name for the shopping center that I'm aware of. So I've coined it Lawson Center. I don't know about you, but it has an extraordinarily wide parking lot. That parking lot is not making money. It's just there. So what if they were to monetize it? And so let me show you what I mean. What if they, much like the prior example, they widen the sidewalk, they put some umbrellas up, a little landscaping and a fence. There's room for that. Now you've got leasable space and people can sit outside and enjoy La Paris. Maybe there's even room if they have that space to add another restaurant. I don't know. But who doesn't want to sit outside? I would like to sit outside of La Paris and enjoy their baked goods, but there's no room there. It's no accommodation. But it's just, there's opportunity there that's just not being used. So that's just an idea that could be done without too much expense. Now, if you want to get a little more ambitious, I always say it's a flat building, it's been around a while. If you added a pitched roof to it and some dormers, it would look a little nicer. And then with the higher signs, it's more visible from the highway because there is somewhat of a setback from the highway. And so if you wanted your businesses to have a little better visibility, that would be one way of doing it. The zoning on that property allows mixed use. So, and there is a wide vacant property that's part of this, all the way back to Melvin. So you could build apartments on there, and then if you wanted to have ground floor retail, you could do that because it's faces the highway, so that would be nice. But perhaps the back property would have just apartments. But there's a lot of opportunity here for this property. So here's another example, the bowling alley just over here. It's empty for years, it's I would say underutilized, but what a location. Look at the location. It is in the center of the Broadway district. It's across the street from Walmart. It has everything going for it. But it's not being used. So just what if it was used for pickleball, indoor and outdoor pickleball? Meet me in the street. I was approached by the Nabriskis and why can't we have more pickleball courts? Well, because they're noisy. So if you have them in neighborhood parks, they're going to bother the neighbors. Well, how about an indoor pickleball? What about one that's on the highway side? That's not going to bother anybody. And who remembers Lena's Bar? Right? There is a part of American Canyon history that's sort of gone. I had a conversation with Buzz Butler, who told me he'd be listening tonight because he's dog sitting. He's a proud owner of Lena's sign. I didn't forget that. I don't know what he's doing with it, but
he's waiting for this moment.
In his living room, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, why don't we have Lena's indoor disco pickleball? I don't know if anyone's been in the bowling alley, but there's a disco ball in there. Who wouldn't want to go to that? Why not? It's an unused building. I bet the owner wouldn't mind if someone picked it up and did something with it. You paint it green because it is, after all, pickleball. And why not? What a location and what a fun thing. Did the Citizens Academy with the high school students, and they're saying, we need more fun places to go and to do. Well, there you go. You got a building right there. I know that the building is old and it probably needs some work, but you have this resource in just an amazing location that could be used for something really exciting and fun for a lot of people. I'd do that. So that's, that's an idea. Have a bar, have an arcade, pickleball. Lena's. Why not? Now, we all know that property is big. And so on the south side, what if you were to anchor it with a farmer's market style grocery store? And along with that, have some inline retail. There's room on this property. So here is an illustration. Now, as to do this, I stole the architecture of another grocery store and changed the name. So there are grocery stores that look like that. They exist. So I'm not, crazy out there. So why not? Why not? Wouldn't that be nice? And if you look here, all of these pictures along the highway, they have the bike lane because that provides access and makes it easier for people to get around safely. And helps anchor the frontage and provide some landscaping along with what may be built along with the building. So if you're not the sort that does this sort of thing every day, it might be a little hard to visualize. You've got Lena's on the north and then Isla on the south. And in between, I guess, would be a parking lot. And so I did just a little illustration here. This is not to scale, but it's a concept, just to give an idea. So imagine you have that center over there. On one side, you've got Lena's, and on the other side, you've got Isla, and in between, there's parking. If you do that, you have both room, you have parking that's shared, and you have great line of sight. I know that retail wants to be seen from the street. So this enables lines of sight from both directions on the highway. So along Teresa, so that would be on the back side of the property. So that's more of a residential feel, and it would be unpleasant if all of this, you had all the shipping and receiving on Teresa. That would be, I think, a real disappointment for folks that lived in that street. So instead of, and then there's room, it's deep enough. It's a very big site, it's deep. So if you were to design it so that that wouldn't be the case, you'd have room for townhomes along Teresa, which would kind of meld in with the neighborhood. So what if you saw townhomes along there? These are just ideas. It's a big improvement, I think. And this is my last example, and then we can kind of open it up for just conversations. And that would be, the property on Melvin is for sale. I saw it on LoopNet. And there's one parcel, about 6/10 of an acre, but it says in the ad that the neighboring parcel is also for sale. So I'm grouping them in one. And so that property has higher density residential zoning. And I know that Habitat for Humanity has been looking at it, but they haven't really moved forward. But what if, for example, you put some townhomes on here? This is an example that would be about 11 units per acre. It's a lot lower than the zoning would allow. And so it's feasible. This picture probably isn't to scale, but 11 units an acre for townhomes, 3-bed, 2-bath, about 2,000 square feet apiece. It could probably fit on there. So it's, I think perhaps some might say, an improvement over Napa Cove to folks that live on the street. And that kind of gets into, if we're not happy with what we're getting, maybe if we want to take the proactive step and say, well, this is what we want, right? If you want to do what we want, well, here's the entitlement. If you want to do it your way, well, go. That's always available. But if you want to do something that the Council and the Planning Commission think is a benefit and a need, and we've done the feasibility work in-house and we present it, then that makes it easy to say yes. So that's really kind of a different concept, and wanted to share that with you. So just kind of a discussion points, maybe, okay, this is a cool idea, Brent, but how would you even do this? So just for sake of argument, just for discussion purposes, you might have like a priority sites program. Obviously, we have a limited staff. You have to pick your top priorities and then maybe select a pilot project based on visibility, property owner concurrence, something that might happen if we could do it to help things go through the entitlement so they can go straight to building permits. So with that, kind of turn it over to all of you.
Thank you, Brent. That was actually an amazing presentation. And I got to actually tell you real quick that when I first ran for city council, that's what I had visions. When I get on city council, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna have this going on, the bowling alley. I had all those. So I mean, I'm happy you did that. It made me excited just watching it. So thank you for that presentation, and I'll open it up for the commissioners to give some feedback, and then the council. But I see that the city manager has his light blinking, so he has something to add.
I do, Mayor. Thank you. That was a great presentation. Thank you, Brent. Just a little more backstory and context. Brent, alluded to the brainstorming nature, and that's what I asked him to do. As we were preparing for this session, the interest from the council was on removing barriers for development. As we began to talk through, we were talking about what are those barriers, and it's the perception of the unknown, it's cost, it's not knowing what the city wants, the potential to get a no. I mean, can you imagine spending $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 of your own money or the bank's money that you promised to pay back, only to come to a hearing and get told no? It's a very real fear, and it's development activity is very high risk, high reward type stuff. And so when you combine that with the fact often the professionals that we're dealing with are from other states or other parts of California. They don't know anything about American Canyon, and they're resistive to trying to do the things that we know that would be good for the community. So I kind of tasked Brent with displaying some of this creativity. And the other real difference that's available now, many of those pictures you saw are available for some design tools that exist that really didn't even exist 24 months ago, 12 months ago. Our ability to use these tools to create what are effectively photo sims, to create tools of examples of what they might look like really, I think, appeases the eye and gives you clarity about how it might look. And in the past, you would have had to pay an architect $100,000 for those pictures, and now they can do it in a sitting for far less. And so the technology is coming up in a way that allows us to represent in 3 dimensions, to scale and so forth in a way that doesn't exist anymore, and we don't have to rely on a developer's architect from San Diego or St. Louis. We're able to take what's in our plan already, put 3 dimensions to it on the places that we know that it could be prime to meet American Canyon's needs. So conceptually, this is pretty cutting edge. I'm not aware that any other cities are looking at this. Way back when, there was a thing called a redevelopment agency, and so redevelopment agencies would do some of this. They would do it from a perspective of really downtrodden properties. You had to go through a process of declaring blight, and then would allow cities to assemble properties and spin them off to developers and do things. So there is a history of this sort of thing happening, but it is several, multiple decades old now as far as when that was occurring. But this day and age, I'm not aware of really any municipalities that are taking a look at this and being this forward thinking. It would still involve the city council and the planning commission. So I don't want you all to get the impression that you wouldn't be involved. It's quite the opposite. Number one, you would be involved on your own timeframes, because these would be projects that nobody's applied for yet. And so absent an application from a property owner or developer, we wouldn't be under any sort of shot clock or any sort of timeframes to respond to completeness or with conditions of approval. Nowadays, especially with housing, we have about 60 seconds to respond, and then it's approved. And so I'm being a little facetious, but that's where the state has gone with housing. So doing something in advance would allow us to do it on a little more of our own timescale. And it would allow us to put in the kinds of conditions and things that we wanted after deliberation. I would still go through Planning Commission and City Council. And the other aspect to this is it would allow us to ferret out any sort of questions or concerns from the community, and there wouldn't be any bad guys, right? A lot of times developers come to the podium, they have a project, and some people are excited and other people think they're the bad guys, and they're blaming all the history and traffic and all the problems, all the things that they think are wrong with the world, and they're blaming this particular developer who just spent $500,000 on their consultant studies as if they're the problem, and really it's not fair to them, because they aren't the problem. They just showed up with an idea that they were trying to make work in American Canyon. So to the extent we're able to bring some of these ideas forward, we can engage that community conversation, and if there are questions and concerns of the community, we can address them, whether they be conditions of approval or not. And there isn't, this sort of scapegoat, where it's a lot of times developers end up being. So, a couple of things are kind of converging here, much more certainty about how the highway is going to look and some more realistic timeframes now of when we could start to see some change there, some advanced tools and technology that allow us to really play a design feature. And this recognition that we set the table with the Broadway District specific plan based on the paradigm of the mixed-use commercial market as we understood it from the prior decade, which is a great plan and would have worked if the retail market hadn't utterly changed and interest rates hadn't utterly changed and California hadn't changed, right? I mean, the broader Bay Area, the population trends and economic activity absent AI and that technology really is stagnant, and Napa County's population is actually decreasing. So these aren't areas where outside investment is intriguing or is happening in any great efforts. And so we decided, hey, what would this concept look like? So it would still involve you. We want to have this sort of conversation with you all about this approach. We didn't feel it was appropriate to just start bringing you projects that nobody has applied for, and you start to wonder why. But we felt like it was an opportunity to I think Brent did a great job of highlighting those things that, yeah, we could see all those things really working, and there were some other ideas that he has also as well. So that was the purpose of this. Essentially, removing the barriers is to remove the uncertainty for developers. What do we want? What am I approved to do? It would streamline their approach to go straight to building permits. And now, for example, the bowling alley, it's owned by someone who lives in Sacramento. They have no interest in doing anything with the property. They have a certain amount of money, and for them, there's like zero interest. But there might be someone locally. There might be someone here with some capital who might be interested in this idea. They were never going to go approach that property owner and spend $100,000, $200,000 on plans to just get told no, right? But now that they have that certainty that the yes has already happened, maybe they go approach the property owner. Maybe they're ready to take some risk and do some of that. So that's the purpose of this.
Thank you. Thank you. Want to kind of give the opportunity to the planning commission to kind of ask for any clarifying questions to the presentation or make a statement about what you guys are doing and how this tool is going to be able to help you guys out, to help us out. But first, before I even go there, I just want to tell you guys I appreciate what you guys do wholeheartedly. I think you guys do an amazing job. And that's Eric, too, because I know he's not here. So if he's watching, he'll know that I'm complimenting him as well. So I'll start with you, Chair, if you have some input on the presentation and or what the excitement that I have about the possibilities.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Hawley, and Vice Mayor and council members. I think, first of all, I would like to commend Director Cooper on a really wonderful presentation. I think, having worked with him now for a couple of years, he certainly has a thoughtful and purposeful way of presenting and understanding what resources and assets are available to the city to identify and possibly explore, right? It's very articulate, very creative, but I think it leads to the bigger question that we, and I don't speak for everybody here, but I think we align as a commission of what is the vision for this city, right? Like you, Mayor, I came in thinking, wow, this is going to be great. We're going to have all these cool things. We're going to develop a city and a community that's tight because we are incredibly tight as a community. We all support each other, but we need places to congregate. We need things to do. It's evident with Independence Park and 4th of July was mentioned. Meet me on the street. People come from near and far to be a part of this. The Ruins events have happened. Veterans Park. Wish we had a sports complex. I mean, things like that we're identifying that this community, as we grow, those are the things we need. So thank you for having a wonderful vision and translating that to visuals for us, because we all went, everybody was smiling. This is this is all we want to see. I'm going to turn it over to my commissioners. I have a lot to say. I know we all take very copious amount of notes, but I think one of the things that I value a lot is that this commission aligns really well, and we want to make sure we align with city council and we align with city staff, because the vision for this city is important, and we do want to grow. We want to grow in a right way. It's a balancing act, right? You've got commercial, you've got residential, you've got open space and agriculture, and we've got to be very mindful of how we balance all of those. But I love that you've identified existing spaces that can create these congregational areas that have been underutilized. So thank you for doing that. I do have a lot to say, but I'm going to turn it over to my commissioners first so that they can have their input.
Okay.
Is this mic on? Okay. Thank you, Mayor Washington. I wanted to thank you, Mayor Washington, and members of the
Council. It's been a real honor to serve as a planning commissioner and to be involved as an American Canyon citizen. Director Cooper, thank you. Your presentation, again, I'm going to echo what Chair Plummer said. It's very articulate, put together, easy to read. I love the renderings. It makes me so excited, and that's also another reason for being on Planning Commission, to get going with these wonderful projects and to see our town. People pass through American Canyon, they really don't know what they're missing. Chair Plummer had talked about, the ruins and the Meet Me in the Street, and the community comes, they congregate together. Last school year, I was at American Canyon High, and I had the privilege of being a judge for one of their business propositions. And over and over and over again, those seniors said, we need something where we can go and something where we can do. And I love the pickleball concept, another activity or bowling alley or something for kids to go through. And I really love the outdoor feel. So I'm really excited about this topic. I feel like I want to roll up my sleeves and help everybody. How can we get the chart paper? How can we get people to participate a little bit more? I guess my feedback for today's agenda, and I apologize, I'm wearing my teacher hat again. I would have liked to have some more front loading, because our topic, like Ms. Jeanette had said earlier, the agenda topic was rather broad, removing barriers to development, and I kind of didn't know what we were going to talk about today. I'm really excited about this topic. I really am. Again, wearing my educator hat, I would have loved a little bit more, something to hold on to, maybe some more bullet points, what we're going to be talking about, so that I can be more of an active participant in our session today. Just some more clarity on that. But thank you again, Director Cooper. It's fabulous. I'm excited. Let's get going. Let's do it.
Thanks, Marilyn. Shelby?
Yeah, again, thank you, Mayor Washington and council members, for having this joint meeting and including us in this process. Yeah, Director Cooper, that presentation was really exciting, and I want to echo what Chair Plummer and Commissioner Avalon said, that this kind of work and these kinds of projects, I think, are what motivated all of us to want to join the Planning Commission in the first place. I know that, as a slightly newer resident to American Canyon, I've been here a few years now. I have little kids. I plan to raise them here through high school and everything. And, I really want to I know that American Canyon has such a strong sense of community, and I would love for our town to have a physical representation of that as well, right? Physical places to gather. So I am really excited by some of the ideas you shared, and how, especially the first couple you shared really would require kind of minimal changes compared to completely tearing down and rebuilding or something like that. It's really exciting. I would love to work on the process of how to make that happen. Yeah, and, while also figuring out how to balance that, Chair Plummer talked about walking this line of helping guide the growth of the city, while also ensuring that we're preserving our open spaces, preserving our wetlands, all of that, and really figuring out how to walk that line. And I think the examples you shared of potential sites to start with is amazing, and are areas that would really make sense. They're already developed in to varying degrees. Yeah, and I also want to second what Commissioner Avalon shared of, I really didn't know what I was coming into tonight. I'm very pleasantly surprised and impressed with your presentation. But I know that for me, coming here after a long work day, I love to be prepared. I love to have a chance to brainstorm in advance, come in with some ideas, because after a long day, I don't always think best on my feet. So yeah, some more, I guess, understanding and clarity and input on what the meeting was going to look like would have been appreciated. But I really enjoyed your presentation. And yeah, I wanna make those things happen. So thank you.
Before I move to you, DeVette, I'm going to have the city manager make a comment.
Yeah, I just want to address real quick. We do appreciate how strange it might be to see an agenda with a single line item and not know what this is about, and appreciate wanting to be prepared. We felt like, Brent and myself felt like we needed to keep this kind of under wraps. If this presentation had been part of a packet, we felt like without the right context, people would think the bowling alley was being changed, and they wouldn't understand that this is a brainstorming exercise. The pictures will be shared on Facebook, and everyone thinks these things are happening. And so
Telling us that we were coming into a brainstorming exercise would have been appreciated.
Sure, no, I completely agree.
I totally understand not wanting to confuse people with the images. Yeah.
I agree, and I thank you for that.
I just want to echo that comment to Mr. Hawley. I think everybody on this commission is a professional industry. We spend countless hours at work and on the road and whatnot, and so being prepared is incredibly critical for us. We didn't need the full presentation, but at least having a general understanding of what the topic was going to be about tonight. This is our only joint session. It's been on the books for 3.5, 4 months. It would have been nice to have some kind of context coming into it, is all I'll simply say. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioner DeVette.
Yeah, so I just want to disclose that I did speak with somebody prior to this meeting asking why the topic was so cryptic. And, Ms. Pollyanna said, oh, it's just the city council wanting to get to know the planning commission better and, the way I am. But anyways, I do want to preface my comments by saying that this is my last year on the planning commission. Life flipped on me. But after hearing this presentation, I'm like, let me see. So Director Cooper, thank you so much for that presentation. I too am so excited with what's going on in the city of American Canyon, and that is why I am so involved in the community and why I joined the Planning Commission, is just because I see the future of American Canyon just as your presentation. So when I win lotto, I'm going to apply for the bowling alley, and we're going to make it happen.
Very good. Thank you, DeVette. Now I'll move to council and any.
If I just,
go ahead.
I'll wrap up. I wanted to let them speak first.
Okay.
I had already mentioned balancing act, when we look at commercial, residential, ag, or open space. I do want to just touch on the recruitment and retention for the city for business. In my line of work, we spend a lot of time modeling recruitment and retention for membership. And what does that mean? Membership, right? And so to be an active business member of this community, what are the features and benefits of being that active business member, right? And so, in this economic state, you have to go out and recruit. And so I agree. I think however the pilot project works, however we look at doing that with professional organizations or within staff or within commissions, I'm in favor of that. Recruitment is incredibly important because you shape how your city's going to look. You shape how your membership is going to look, and you exact and refine those features and benefits of having that membership. And so I can only parlay that into words that I understand, but that's the similarity that I see in city government, right? We tend to overcomplicate things a lot, and I get it. There's a lot of rules and regulations and things that you need to get through, but I mean, let's just clear the noise. Where do we want to go? Who do we want to be when we grow up? And let's go there. And so if the pilot project is about recruitment for businesses that we want to see help evolve this city, then I'm in favor for that. I think this makes a lot of sense. And then it's retention. How do we retain these businesses? We've lost a few businesses recently here in this city for various reasons. But again, if we're not offering a way for retention for those businesses to continue to thrive, we'll continue to lose them. Mm-hmm. So again, clear the noise. Let's make it uncomplicated. Let's have a vision plan and a pathway for recruitment and retention. And that's my big ask.
Cool. Thank you, Chair. Anyone else on the commission? Seeing no one else with a comment from the commission, I'll move to the council for any comments or clarification on the presentation. We'll start with you, Councilmember Lambertina. You're first.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Director Cooper, for an amazing presentation. I want to be so unprofessional and just be like, woo! I'm so excited. Living here like 51 years, it was just grass, animals, and then building it up. I feel like the east side's pretty nice looking, but the west side needs a lot of love. And yeah, I think this is fabulous, and I'm very excited. I love the innovation, and yeah, let's just charge forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Councilmember Cruz.
Yeah, Director Cooper, thank you for that wonderful presentation. You know, watching that, I felt really dreamy-eyed, and just, that was wow, just a vision that you have here. And with the Planning Commission, I empathize with you. I sat there where you're at not too long ago, about a couple of years ago. So I think it's a little bit, oh my God, where's all the paperwork that I got to read prior to? You're so used and regimented, reading everything, preparing for the meeting. When you come, like, oh my God, it's nothing to read, but just to watch this presentation. So I understand being prepared before you come to the meeting. But I do, again, appreciate everything that you guys do, because I know what it feels like to sit on that side. With this, of course, you know, we want to build response. My question would be, how would we involve the community in these build outs, and of course, you know, these permits that we, of course, would approve in advance? I understand what we're trying to do. We're trying to streamline the process, because sitting again in that side where you guys sit, one thing that developers or builders or businesses coming in, one thing that was a barrier for them was like, how, you know, what can we do to make this process easier? It would be a consistent and constant complaint. So not only how do we do that, how we streamline that, but how would we, of course, involve our community, like Jeanette, Hugh, and Cindy, and folks out there that are watching that are wondering what's going on with this. So how do we do that? But again, thank you for that presentation. Got me dreamy-eyed. Again, the reason why I'm sitting here today is because of that concept is, how can I keep my kids here? There's nothing to do here. So this is, again, a glimpse of what our future could look like. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Councilmember Cruz. I'll give you a chance. I was going to go straight to public comment, but go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Well, I was waiting for everybody else to talk, but no, I would second a lot of the things that have been said. And there were a couple of people who commented on the agendas is kind of cryptic. I had the advantage of talking to the city manager, so I could tell them this is what it's all about. So, but I do think that's a good point. And sometimes it helps to have a little more background material. As it goes, though, the presentation was great. I'm completely on board. And in particular, I like this last screen where we're talking about the steps. Because I do think we need to pick two or three, because one of the issues that wasn't highlighted as a real issue is a lot of the parcels on the 29 corridor are like half-acre parcels, which is great if you're building a house. It sucks if it's trying to be a retail center. And so one of the real headaches without a redevelopment agency is you can't just go and assemble them. Mm-hmm. But we do have 3 or 4 decent-sized parcels. And if those are our priority opportunity sites, and they come out well and they're successful, and you create this vision and the roadmap, then all of a sudden private development might start knocking on the doors of 3 or 4 individual landowners and start doing their own parcel assemblage. So I like this idea of a pilot project in particular. The other issue that's going on is, as the manager pointed out, Napa Valley Transportation Authority and Caltrans is finally dealing with our 29 corridor. And it's maybe 5 years out, depending upon finding $50 million. So what I really like is the fact that if we're talking about this concept today, and assuming it takes a year or 2 to translate it into action, and then a year or 2 to physically finish it, it may all kind of come together at once. So that once the renovations that Caltrans does, when they're finished, we may have 2 or 3 of these developments, and it all starts to snap and happen. And I'm really reminded of Napa City, because I was around long enough to be in there with the flood control tax and getting it approved, and all the transformations, the physical transformations of Napa, downtown Napa, translated into an economic revival. And now it's kind of the center of the universe. And I think if we synchronize this concept with the 29 improvements, we're going to see that same kind of synergy And then the last piece to this puzzle is a lot of times, in addition to reducing the uncertainty of, the fear of no, and the conditions and everything else, the other advantage is once the 29 corridor is renovated, the power lines are underneath, there's some landscaping, there's bike paths, there's drainage, there's all these things. All of a sudden, the cost of development goes down because you don't have to tell the developer that in addition to building your structure, you've got to address drainage, and oh, by the way, we don't have a drainage plan, so we're not sure what we want you to do, but by God, you've got to do it. It's a lot easier to say, okay, that's covered. You don't have to worry about that. We may try to exact a few bucks from you for reimbursements, but it's a done issue. You can just focus on building this thing and making it happen. So having worked with developers over the years, they really do, it is an economic bottom line. A lot of times I think we imagine that they want to have their particular project. And your point about what does the city want, their bottom line is, I bought this piece of land, I want to make some money. It's not like I want it to be a gas station. It's more like I want to make some money on this. And if you tell me this is how I can make some money, 9 out of 10 are on board. And so with that having been said, I'd like to recommend we do the Canyon Plaza thing and the Lawson Center thing, simply because they look like a relatively low-cost, high-yield outcome. And you're dealing with property owners, you can tell Rick this is what we want to do, and he'll probably do half of it. And so I see these as two easy wins. I think the bowling alley is a little more challenging, or probably a lot more challenging. And then I want to make a final pitch, because we talked about the town center. And I think the Ruins is turning into an entertainment district, and I think it's going to be an incredible one. I've got nothing but positive feedback on that arena. But the classic downtown center, it may not be, or it may not be for another 30 years. So that sets the stage of saying, so where else might our town center be? And maybe it might be in the one biggest single-owned parcel sitting between Walmart and some hotels. And I'm looking at the Adobe lumber. That may become the pivotal parcel that we really need to sit down with the property owners and do a kind of a joint effort, because how that parcel develops can not only facilitate traffic circulation, but our vision of the town center, and it can probably facilitate the Ruins as well. And so for me, I think it's a great idea. I'd like to start small with the easy ones, either tackle the bowling alley or go straight to Adobe, because I think Adobe that's the king, that's the linchpin. If we can do that one right, we'll be able to sit back and rest on our laurels. So that's my comments.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I knew it. Councilmember Oro.
I don't have to say anything.
You know, go ahead.
But I think Councilmember Joseph brought up some good points, which sparked an opportunity to provide my input as well. So I like the ideas of the easy, the low-hanging fruit, right? But if we go through this process, I'd like to envision it even for the big ones, right? Because these are all conceptual things. And we need to challenge ourselves now to think through what that Broadway corridor would look like. I actually think on the Canyon Plaza one, that is smart, right? Like, that's just the thing. And, if the highway improvements are there, hopefully the traffic slows down and it's not too noisy. And the same for Lawson Center. But why not reimagine what the property next door would look like and give it an opportunity? And I say to do that because it invites the public to come in and weigh in as well. We'll have many of these conversations. And we had imagined 10 years ago the Broadway District specific plan and what we wanted there. And obviously things weren't working, and we've come up with some ideas of, well, we haven't come up with any ideas, but we've talked about ideas of like maybe some incentives to incentivize people to build today. I don't know, removing some fees. This, Mr. Cooper, I think probably takes a lot of that work out of it, or lowers their cost. What is the benefit beyond just saying, hey, here's the one thing that the city wants. This is why it's going to be easier on you. Help me understand that. And like, if we can begin to communicate what that economic incentive is, to Mr. Joseph's point, you begin to have real action.
Right. So the municipal code requires this sort of gatekeeping process called the planning process. So someone has an idea for a property, they have to come through and get approval of it. We call it entitlement. And that's sort of a broader term that means a design permit or a conditional use permit, generally the most common ones. And so we require a lot of plans. They have to go and respond to comments from the public. We have all kinds of comments on them. We have a lot of documents. There's the zoning code, there's specific plans, there's policy documents they may not be aware of. There's a lot of reference documents that we pull together on these things. And so when somebody is trying to get this entitlement, they really objectively have a lot of work ahead of them, and they don't often necessarily even care because they're confident that the city wants their project. I would take the Hampton Inn as one. What city, the other was me, was, well, what city doesn't want a hotel? Here, you're getting this, and you're going to like it, because everyone else does. Like, no, we have our rules. Like, so there is an education process that we help applicants understand, and sometimes what happens is they say, okay, you win, show us a pretty picture, and then go build something else. So the entitlement is a very valuable milestone, because once you get through that, it spells out everything you have to do to build your project, and then you go through building permits and construction permits, improvement plans. So if we can just remove that whole step for somebody with a project that they know the city wants, because it was approved by the council, planning commission, council, and we work with the community, everyone wants it. And if they're neutral, like what was made, I want to make some money on this land. If they're neutral on what it is they do, and for some that might work. It's like, I don't really care. I just want to make money and go the easy route. I've had a very influential large developer say to me, I don't want to go through your process. So I'm not going to try anything hard. So if you can come up with something easy for me, that's what I'll do. And so if we can just make it easy to get something that all of us have agreed, we would really like to see that. And if that works for them, we have a win. It reminds me of just human interactions where you might know somebody very well and you've been grumbling for a long time because they aren't doing something you want. And finally, it finally comes to a head and they say, well, you never asked me. So there may be property owners here that are sitting on their property. They don't want to deal with the city. But if someone came to them with an idea, like, well, yeah, since you asked. So that's kind of part of the process. And using human interaction maybe to get they're agreeable to something that all of us want. And then in return, we give them a gift of something that is expensive and valuable, the entitlement. I think it sort of helps everybody. It's not going to work for everybody, but it might work for enough to make a difference.
So basically, it becomes a point to where, hey, we want this. You got the money. Go build it. Here's an entitlement.
Mm-hmm.
And now you get to enjoy the benefits of rental, lease rates, all of those things. And you don't have to go through the thing that might take years or months in terms of going back and forth. Easy way to look at that?
That would be very easy.
Right. So it's a starter kit.
Mhm.
Right. So tell me, as we think through this process and we have these ideas and we come to an agreement, does the council, does the planning commission, who gets to, that costs money too. Where does that, how do we get that help? And I know for the BDSP, the council did approve or did ask you to work with, I don't know, what is it, landscape designer or somebody in design, that you have resources now the community development department has. How does this work in practicality, and what kind of money are we putting forward for a project that isn't necessarily guaranteed, but is, to the rest of the planning commission council here, is very dreamy?
So I would add your list to the issues that we would address, but it would seem to me that I did add here property owner consent. So let's just say, for example, the property owner was presented with a dreamy idea. They go, yeah, that sounds like a good one. It may not be them that builds it. It may be someone else who comes onto their property and builds it, or it might be them. But it would, I think, need to have some agreement that this is even an idea they're willing to consider. As for how do you pay for the city work, well, we have our finance director here. But I would actually point out that, you know, earlier on, if we can help move things along, it has very real consequences for our budget. So there may be projects sitting out there where someone doesn't want to deal with the city, therefore it languishes. If we can shake that loose and make something happening, although there is an upfront city cost, there is a long-term revenue stream benefit. And I don't know how one does the math on that, because
Well, what's the math on a typical entitlement?
Yeah, maybe another way of answering the question is some of what we're talking about is a timescale of when these costs are needed. So in the traditional process, all of the costs are upfront ahead of the risk proposition of a yes or no. And so they're actually kind of untimely. BDSP already has an EIR. We already know it's a largely built out environment. It's infill, right? So this isn't like some other areas of town where it's all greenfield and there's new roads and new plant. Like we know where the highway is. We know where the roads are. The amount of studies and the things that we have to look at in our normal formula really aren't necessary for infill kinds of construction, and we've already covered them. The architectural concepts are already in BDSP. The infrastructure is largely there. Whether the pipeline is in this street or that street doesn't have to happen. The developer doesn't need to figure that out as part of a $300,000 entitlement package. We can figure that out at the building permit stage. So some of the cost proposition won't be incurred by the city because the projects that would come forward, the city-initiated projects, aren't going to have every detail figured out like we might have in a traditional approach. Because some of those things can be figured out later, and some of them really aren't entitlements. A condition of approval that says whether this pipeline needs to be improved or not, like the council, the planning commission, you weren't really going to be the experts in deciding, oh yes, improve that pipe, because you don't know. You're relying on an engineer either before or after to figure out whether the pipeline needs to be improved. And if we can, number one, put some of those costs on the rear end so that as part of a building permit process, there will be engineers involved, there will be costs that developers are doing, and so some more of that heavy lifting happens on the back end after they have no risk. So that's sort of one piece. And then the second piece is we've done some of the tools already with some of the environmental studies, so that work's already done, as is some of the architectural work that's already done. And to your point, we do have an on-call consultant, an architectural firm, and so that can help guide us a little bit in the front-end process. It can definitely help us in the building permit review process. So as we get these plans in, they can help us, again, that's paid for by the development and reimbursed that way. And so they can then sort of invest, in that process rather than the before I'm getting a yes or no. I really don't think we can downplay how much uncertainty weighs in on folks, in part because although we've actually been very accommodative of development, I'm not sure we've ever really said no to particular projects. In other communities in the Bay Area and elsewhere in California, no's are a very common thing. And so folks who work all over are used to being told no and just having to price that in, that risk. So some of it, there will be some costs up front, but I'm actually not envisioning, I'm not envisioning hiring a person to go and do these applications or hiring an architecture firm to do all these things. I think we have the tools available. We have the basics of what the council wants already as far as design guidelines. We would, to some of the council members' points, like what would be some of the low-hanging fruit? What are some of the opportunity sites? Those sorts of suggestions, we would come back to you and go, okay, like some of the next steps would be like, here's the dozen or so sites we think might benefit from this process. Some of them are, TIs, some of them are adding housing, some of them are bigger reimagines, and kind of break those up into clusters. But I'm not envisioning actually a very heavy lift on the front end. There will be some costs as we try to get the conditions of approval right and we try to, get that paperwork in order. But I'm not envisioning big consultant contracts or bringing extra.
I mean, is it as simple as a great AI image and like everybody's like, yeah, let's do that?
It is.
And then you do in like the paperwork afterwards and say this is what the city envisions.
It is, and that's a really great point. So what you are seeing is what would be characterized in the planning world as photo sims. They're not architectural renderings, of exact details of cornices and windows and all that sort of stuff, which really doesn't have to happen at the entitlement stage. That could really happen actually at the building permit stage. So what you're talking about is a series of photo sims and these new tools now that are available to staff and other folks who might be helping us to invest and to do those things. In the past, no one would have ever even thought that was available. You would have had to hire an architect just to develop photo sims. And our custom process now, our normal process now, we're heavily reliant on architects and having all these architectural details and all of these sort of things figured out when we're just not accustomed to saying, yeah, give us some really great photo sims and generally do these things this way. Because again, a lot of times they're coming to us in a somewhat adversarial relationship, guessing it to what we want and not obeying our architectural guidelines. And so it starts off on a slightly sideways foot to begin with. So there's not a great amount of trust here. The comments that we're going to get about the ideas we put forward are going to be from the Planning Commission and the council and the public, but they're not adversarial, and there's no boogeyman as far as a developer to kind of throw under the bus. So there will be comments, and we can craft those conditions of approval. But yeah, the information in those packets isn't going to be 300 sheets of architectural plans and site lots and all that. It will be much smaller with those AI tools.
Let's photo sim the whole corridor. Thank you very much.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Vice Mayor.
Yes, I just wanted to follow up on the cost-benefit analysis. Or uncertainty is a big issue. And even if we end up with yes, if we take too long to get to yes, that's a downside. So the advantage of this process is if we bog down because there's a lot of community input and a lot of issues back and forth, that's our dime, and it doesn't cost the developer anything. The biggest issue, having talked to developers, sometimes some of them in particular are incredibly bright, and they will tell you that if they have to go out and borrow a lot of money, they have a carrying cost every month. So if it takes you 6 months to get to yes, and you're paying, who knows what every month in interest, that's a huge cost. If, on the other hand, you can say this project has already been approved, so that your clock starts the minute you sign the paperwork. Now, all of a sudden, their carrying cost is kind of their dime. They're going to have to go and figure out how to do it all and resolve the pipeline issues and all that, but they do that anyway. So saving them months of time is valuable. Again, like I said, if we get the 29 corridor improvements done, even if we charge them something with impact fees or some reimbursement agreement, it's still we've still reduced the uncertainty. They don't have to figure out how to do drainage. They just need to figure out how to tie into it. Again, it's cheaper, quicker, easier. And even upfront costs that we might have, I'm sure we could figure out a condition that says you'll reimburse us for our out-of-pocket costs because we're that kind of organization. And so I really think this process, the concept has an incredible amount of positive synergy to it. And the only reason I pick out the low-hanging fruit is, to some extent, we want to, you don't want to jump into the deep end. If you start off with a couple of almost just facade improvements, that's probably a lot easier to figure out all the headaches that we're going to have before we just jump into the deep end. So it's just a matter of, anything else. Do the easy ones first to figure out the headaches, and then you're ready for the big time. So I think it's a great idea.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And just to just piggyback real quick before I go to public comment. The city manager and I had a couple of opportunities to meet with 4 or 5 different community members, families that are willing to talk to us about doing things on their property. I think those are also a good opportunity. I'm not going to tell you what they are right now, Brett, because I'm sure the city manager will talk to you, and maybe you could get some of them remnants together, and then the planning commission can kind of present it to all of us. But they're really exciting opportunities that are in what I consider in the future. With that said, I'm going to open it up for public comment for item number 1. I know people didn't have an opportunity to write out speaker cards because you didn't know what to write the speaker cards out about, right? So for a show of hands, I would like to see if any public comment inside the audience. And then Brent, stay close to the mic. Cindy?
Good evening again. First of all, thank you guys. First, I want to tell you guys, the commission, I love hearing the insight and the thought that you guys are putting into everything. And as a community member, I truly appreciate that. We're brainstorming. I'm not picking on anything, but we're brainstorming. But first, also too, with Brando, thank you so much for putting that word community in there, because I think I hear the word what the council, what the city wants. I'd like to know also if we do the input of what the community wants. That's, because we live here. But also, the pictures are great. I love eating outside too, and I don't care how beautiful that 29 is going to look. It's going to be filled with traffic, and I would be a little bit concerned about the pollution and eating. One way to maybe mitigate that a little bit is, I wouldn't have to drive my car down here to eat, but if I wanted to get on that side of the highway, I certainly wouldn't want to walk. So a pedestrian walkway would be a great thing to put over there, so we could really be safe when we're walking around, because I see the bike trails on one side, right? The bike trails on that side. So what are you going to have? These people come over from one side and eat on that side of the road? Let's say you're going to go there, you're going to have drinks. It's better not to drive. But do you want somebody drinking and walking across that highway? I don't think so. So again, like I said, this is something we need to put in this plan. This is something we need to put in our vision to make this all work, right? I hear the entitlements. I hear the money that they're going to save, maybe get reimbursed. I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe we could just make a donation bottle or something and have that money go into going after the foundation for that pedestrian walkway. For so many years, I've watched 20 plus years that town center was a carrot on a stick, and here we are. And it looks like we're trying to go, and I do think this should be beautified. As I've lived here 2 miles from my house here for a long, long time. I'm not going to say how many years. I was a little kid when I came here, and I remember there were stop signs and not street lights here. And it's always been pretty much looking like it does now, just more buildings. But if we're going to do all that, then we need to really put it together instead of hodgepodging. Let's quit piecing things together. Let's make a plan. The other vision, are talking about the townhouses. Melvin, we got 3 speed bumps out there already. Has anybody talked to them? What is that going to do to our infrastructure? What is that going to do to the traffic? Are we thinking about that? Those are things that I'm worrying about as a community member, again, because I want to get around. I would love to be able to walk around or ride my bicycle around, but I want to make sure that the city's connected. So it's a great way to bring our community all together on both sides. So thank you, and thanks for the good work.
Thank you, Cindy. Anyone else in the room? Hugh?
Planning Commission, Council. Thank you for your work. Planning Commission, you guys, it was really good to hear the insight of all of you, what you guys think about this presentation. Thank you, Brent. Really nice presentation. As this is sort of a informational thing, I looked at the Broadway Plaza, and while it looked nice for the restaurants to be all out in front, the actual occupants of those are 2 part-time employees, a dental office, a beauty supply store, and a Subway. So while that looked nice to have that, those businesses would have to change because there's not enough room unless you put cafes on the other side of those businesses. While it looked nice, those businesses are not there. There are no restaurants there at all, except for Subway. I like the idea of the pickleball and the market. What I see there now is a lumber yard, and that those people have to want to move. And so I hope when you start picking out your plans, so 1, 2, 3, I hope you look at. I thought the Lawson Plaza, that looked really nice. That could be done. That's a real simple one. That could be done. Again, you need the developer to want to participate in that, the property owner. So those are the concerns I have. I think that it's a really good plan. I think it's great. I think it's to have an idea, and it's good to talk about it. I just look at trying to acquire the property to do it. And I know you've talked about bringing businesses in to do that. But if the guy from Sacramento doesn't want to sell or doesn't want to develop, what do you do? And so, again, I think it's a really neat idea. I like your idea, Mark, about the lumberyard. That may have to tie into the town center at some point. Anyway, I thought it was a very good presentation. It's good to hear your positions, and it was good to hear all the council's positions on this new development. Thank you.
Thank you, Hugh. Anyone else? Madam Clerk, anybody online? Okay. If there's no more public.
Sorry, I misspoke. I do have Valerie Zizak Morris online. Let me get her up.
Hello, Valerie.
Go ahead, Valerie.
Hello, everybody. I'm sorry I'm not here in person tonight. Unfortunately, I did not understand the depth of the conversation that was occurring tonight, but I do believe this is a really important conversation. Economic development, drafting the Broadway District Plan, really knowing what our future is for American Canyon is something that the Chamber of Commerce has been working for and towards. I love a lot of the ideas that have come forward. I think some of the barriers that we're seeing is small businesses are having a hard time starting up shop here. There's limited inventory. There's also financial restrictions, any incentives that we can provide for small business, welcoming new business, and really providing that space for them is something that I think needs to be a top priority. I think we all have the same vision for this community. It's a gathering point. It's really making a space that we feel that we can all be together, and knowing that small businesses are supported and these are our residents, and, you know, safe walkways. I agree with Cindy 100% about an overpass that goes over the highway so we can connect from one side to the other safely. These are all things that we need to put into account, but we also need to be having more sessions like this, more transparency, bringing everyone around the table, having these conversations, and really working towards the future for American Canyon. So I'm sorry I wasn't in the room tonight and I didn't get the full presentation from Brent, but what I did see, you did a great job. I appreciate the Planning Commission joining the City Council, and I hope that we really build a strong community for American Canyon. And that's really all I have to say tonight, is that this is what we're working towards, and this is the future of American Canyon. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Valerie.
I also have Buzz online.
Oh.
Go ahead, Buzz.
Hello, Buzz.
Well, since I've been watching this for an hour and a half, I might as well participate a little bit. Apologize for not being there in person. Susan's out of town and I am taking care of the dog. You know, gosh, 25 years ago, when we were starting Napa Junction, you know, the city was still dealing with the remnants of the closure of Mare Island. And I think the count, and Brent, I sent you some of these photographs of the beautiful buildings on Highway 29 at the time. I think the count was 9 abandoned buildings on the highway. So, you know, we all need to take a little credit, and we have come a long way. You know, there's been a lot accomplished along the way. Mark always promised me sainthood if I was able to get the Taper property in contract. I'm still waiting for that. Maybe if I give you the Lena sign, it'll count. The Highway 29 corridor infrastructure improvements are really important. You know, having that, the signal set, the road set, the curb setback, all that offsite, the power lines, that's typically where things fall apart. Now, when we did Napa Junction 25 years ago, it was, I think, 25,000 a pole. We did 12 of them, but it was also a bigger project. It was easier to do. Today, that number is probably fourfold. So the offsites are really important. Not to mention the fact that you're dealing with Caltrans, and so when you think you have everything figured out, and at 4 o'clock the afternoon before your public hearing, you get a email from Caltrans with all their little magical comments, right? So, but if we can get the highway done, that's critical. The town center comment, you know, it's interesting because, you know, shouldn't the town center be where the town center is? You know, and if it's not built, why? Is that a demand issue? You know, I always had questions about, you know, if it would work up on the hill because it's off the beaten path. You know, and so we kind of try to create a little bit of a mini one there with the Main Street Park, and then luckily Brenda Knight took advantage of it, and we had jazz in the park, we had movies in the park, we had the Juneteenth celebration for several years as well. We created the Main Street where we did have outdoor seating, we do out there now, but we kind of decided that the orientation would be towards the interior because the highway was so unfinished. And hence you got the design you have. Ironically, the property, Mark will remember this, had a big box requirement that the Napa Junction piece did, because the plan was, in the general plan, once the homes were all built, that you needed a revenue generator to pay the city bills. And I think Napa Junction's done a pretty decent job of paying the city's bills. And the last comment, it does take time. You know, so we've, in the 25 thereabout years, you know, we've gone through 3 pretty brutal cycles. The 01 cycle, the 08 to 11, and then COVID was 4 years. And, you know, on top of that, you have a demand issue. You know, for example, our vacant space we had of 1,000 feet, we finally have Coldstone, amen. That only took 5 years to fill. And the rents are lower than they were in 2006. So it's, you know, and the costs are obviously a lot higher now. But it's just, you know, getting the offsite improvements, that to me is number one important. And because it is such a wonderful city. I love American Canyon. You know, it's just, it's been a wonderful place to be. I've spent a lot of time with Valerie, with the chamber, and all of you folks, and happy to participate. I love these planning charrettes, frankly, and happy to participate any way I can. You know, the Frank Salas piece, the 7.14 acre piece across the way, yeah, he doesn't want to do anything on it. His son-in-law tried to develop it, and it's going nowhere. The other piece I wanted to point out, when we laid out the eucalyptus entrance signal, we actually aligned it with the old dump road on the west side. So there's actually a piece of property that's about 30 to 40 feet wide. I sent it to Erica and I sent it to Brent. So for that connection on the west side, which we were planning that and told that it would be built in 2009.
Hey Buzz, not to cut you off, but that's your time, man.
Okay, that's fine. I'm done.
We
Anyway,
love
that's
you.
the last
We can listen to you all night, but that's your time.
Those are all my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Buzz. And I saw, Madam Clerk, that you let me say that instead of you saying it. So
I was waiting.
No problem.
Have a good night, Buzz.
Bye. Good night.
If there's no more comments, I'd like to close public comment on item number 1, return to the council and the commission for additional statements or questions, if there are any. I'll start with the commission. Any additional comments?
I'll close with, certainly the city knows which available lots are up. We talked about low-hanging fruit. I think that's a good litmus test or beta test to see what kind of impact that makes. And it allows the community to also see the improvements that are happening, because visual perception is reality. And I like the refinements of existing sites because they are an eyesore as you're driving up and down Broadway. You got these empty lots, these degraded buildings. There's usefulness there. And so I think that, again, I know this commission, I don't speak for everybody, but I know this commission's willing to put forth effort and energy to make sure that we can set this vision in motion, to find better ways to, again, recruit and retain businesses in the city. So thank you. Thanks for having us here.
Thank you, Chair. Anyone else on the commission? No? Return to the council. Any final thoughts? Yeah, I know you would. Go ahead.
I don't even
Vice
waste my
Mayor, go
time
ahead.
with the point now. No, I think it's been a very good meeting. I do think that we need to engage the public. And in particular, I think maybe we should direct staff to go to the next step, which is kind of going down Brent's list of steps, identify some initial projects, making sure the property owners are at least receptive, and get us something to work with. Maybe I am a little concerned about some of the sites, particularly Canyon Plaza, because it is so close to the highway. And my question is there ways that we can address the noise factor? Air pollution is one thing, but just the noise. I remember during COVID days, and we would have breakfast at South Kelly Grill out in the parking lot. It was incredibly noisy. And so that one bothers me just because it's so close. I don't know if there's ways to screen that noise or not. So maybe the Lawson corner might be better just because it's already set back. And, it would really appreciate a nice little facelift. So those are my comments.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilmember Lamatina.
Thank you. Just to piggyback on Councilmember Joseph's comments regarding noise. We have the sitting area right down here for employees, but we never sit out there because it is noisy and it gets dusty, but people are driving quick too. So slower speed limit would help. But we always talk, because we're engineers. No, we're medical workers and social workers. But would a big plexiglass, would that help with the noise? I don't know. We talk about that all the time, but I'm just putting it out there. Who knows? Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. This presentation and report was a receive and file, and I'll just look for a head nod that if everybody's okay with what's going on. I'm not sure, Mr. Holly, if we need to give any kind of direction.
What we're sort of taking away is some next steps. I think we're going to start with just an inventory of locations, that we think should be evaluated. And what I mean by evaluate, I'm not talking hiring consultants in a big long process. I'm talking which properties are we think underutilized, which might be benefiting by some redevelopment. There might be some interest, just the inherent things we know that outside developers won't know. So we're going to kind of start with that list and then developing kind of a matrix, right? Is the property owner the same as the tenant, or is that a different relationship, right? Might housing be a part of this particular idea or not? Are there some road improvements and some things like eucalyptus, for example? That's kind of a big deal. How much relationship to the highway, right? Particularly the Canyon Plaza one and that relationship to the highway. Is there something to think about there when comparing maybe to the Lawson property? So just coming up with kind of a metric of those sort of boxes, right, on a scale of easy to difficult. Where do these different opportunity sites lie in that spectrum? And then to say and then size, right? I mean, I think that's probably another piece. So staff will go back and kind of put these criteria together, a sort of matrix, and and then start thinking about, okay, how is it be best to evaluate that, go back to engage the public, the property owners, and what some of those next steps might be. But what's the envelope of what's possible? And then what are the constraints? We didn't touch on this, but there's an earthquake fault that runs through here. And so some of these properties have that challenge. Some of them are owned by the state of California. There's a property on Rio Del Mar on the south side that's owned by the state of California. So, there's some unique ownership situations. And, lastly, we don't want to forget about parks. This is Park and Recreation Month. And so all this activity needs to be mindful of some of those gathering areas that are non-commercial. So the Broadway specific plan already kind of identifies those, but we're going to want to be careful that we're not, looking at one of those flat, beautiful park sites as a potential commercial, because that would have some other potential impact. So I think we'll go back and kind of summarize, these opportunity sites, and then what are some proposed metrics, and then kind of start workshopping this with some of the public and with the Planning Commission and the council.
Thank you, Mr. Holly.
What's the time frame on that, though? Are we talking weeks, months, or years?
It's a great question. And Brent and I were actually kind of talking about this. We do routine updates to the council for public works stuff, right? We get regular updates on utilities. We're going to be getting some updates on traffic on a more regular basis. Brent doesn't have a similar sort of thing on planning. So, I imagine in the next quarter, we would have an update for you. So call it 3 months. I don't have a date in mind particularly, but, we could envision as a routine kind of quarterly update, right? Here's this list. Here's the matrix. Let's start there. I know he routinely gives updates to the Planning Commission on a monthly basis of the active planning projects, and so I would expect wherever his work is landing on this kind of topic to be sitting there in its monthly update, but for the council to say, as a quarterly basis, we need to have this kind of an update. Like, what are these kind of opportunities looking like? So I'd expect in the next quarter, you'd at least see, here are the list of things that we think is the envelope, and here's the matrix that we're looking at. And then, some of the decision making is, do we look at one low-hanging fruit thing, or do we look at the bigger opportunities? Because the low-hanging fruit thing is probably a smaller property, and so there's, it's both maybe simpler, but also going to be constrained on what you can actually accomplish. And does it make sense to look at a bigger one? So we can let that play out maybe at the next quarter when we come back to the council.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Holly. Thank you, Mr. Brent Cooper. And for those who are watching, if you need, I guess, to see the remnants, just go on YouTube and you can find it there, unless we can send an attachment out.
So as part of our meeting minutes, the presentation will be in there. So we do a regular synopsis of the council meeting, and then the meeting minutes are all published, and all of the documents, the presentation will be a part of that record.
Okay.
Of course, our YouTube video, which will be there too.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you again, Mr. Brent Cooper.
My
Planning
pleasure.
Commission, thank you for your hard work and what you do and being here with us tonight and adding to tonight's dialogue. And my colleagues, we have concluded our business for this evening. We are adjourned. Good night, American Canyon.